Well, hi. The end of last year or the very, very beginning of this year, I decided it would be a good idea to try and do a different craft every month, and I want to try and relate it to the name of the month. And for January, we're going to do Januhairy. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that I'm going to do a Nessa from Gavin and Stacey and grow out all my hair. Although, in fairness, I am doing that anyway. Januhairy. No, what Januhairy is for, in a craft point of view, is felting. So I have done felting before. I've made this sort of little fairy thing, and basically the roving wool does look like hair, sort of. I've done a lot of felting before, actually. I'll put some pictures in so that you can see the felting that I've done before. So we have an alpaca, we've got our cat Felix, we've got a collection of all four. I made them one Christmas for everybody. This is an up close of the rabbit Eddie. This is the dogs that I made for my aunties. The alpaca again, made from alpaca wool. And this is Belle from Beauty and the Beast. But this time around, I'm planning on making a Yoda for something very specific. Which hopefully at the end you'll see and go, oh yeah, that's definitely a Yoda. So when you get a kit, they usually give you like polystyrene to build it around. I don't have any of that, so I tied a knot, as you can see, and then I punched in the needle and made some features and smoothed it all out a little bit, I guess. I'll show you where I'm at with Yoda's head. He looks a little bit like Voldemort on the back of Professor Quirrell's head, but green. But this is him. I think he'll look a lot more Yoda when he's got the ears. I hope he will. So let's do a quick jump to the next day where I'm starting working on the ears. I've made them flat and then I folded them and tried to shape them that way. I was also watching Baptiste at the same time. So he looks slightly more Yoda-y now. Slightly. I have got some sort of sockety bits in here, so I'm just going to try and build it up. Just in there, straight up with the white. Yeah, that's already so much better. So the eyes are in. The whites of the eyes are in. So I need to add his I can't remember what colour irises he has. So I'm gonna have to look at picture and then I'll add that, and then he's definitely got like I'll put an eyelid in so he doesn't look quite so scary, I guess. Okay, I've done one, and when I tell you I am using the tiniest bits, I'm talking that. Teeny tiny, because you can always add more, but you cannot take away very easily, possibly at all. See, I think even that might be too big. Let's poke it in. So yeah, I just rolled that up, and that is pretty big, this one. Now he might have slightly bonky eyes, but I feel like that's okay, because certainly in the first ones, not chronological release, not storyline, he was a puppet and kind of had bonky eyes, so it's okay. So I'm just gonna add some like tufts of hair onto the top of his head and in his ears. Give him that old man-y sort of look, because Yoda's a lot of numbers. So I've given him his hair plugs. You can't see. But they are there. They're just little tufts. So on to another day and onto the body. I'm using tinfoil to make a base to sort of wrap the wool around and then try and stab that in. How successful that was, you can be the judge. So I've decided to go with this colour for the main body. It is beautiful. It feels so nice. It's so soft, this one. But because of that, it's also quite hard to use. So I'm using this punch thing with lots of spikes on my foam block, and I'm just going to try and make it a little sort of thicker to make it easier to wrap around, because otherwise it'll just wrap around and it won't do anything, and I can't attach it to itself. I think if it's already a bit matted, it might stick to itself a bit better, is my thinking, but we can never tell. Also, the difficulty with tinfoil is that it is too hard to try and stab into, because with the polystyrene you would normally stab into the polystyrene, it sort of sticks in there, but you can't do that with tinfoil, obviously. I mean, you could do it without, but that would use a lot of the wool, and I like having a lot of supplies, craft supplies that I don't use. I really enjoy that. I've got a whole wardrobe full of craft supplies that I don't use, which is partly the reason why I'm doing this monthly craft thing. You've got to be so careful though, because you punch it quite hard, but you've got to keep your fingers out of the way, because it does hurt a lot when you miss. I have done that before. It is not nice. Anyway, yeah, it is basically impossible to do this with the tinfoil. But now that it's got a bit of a shape, I'm going to slide that out. I've got a tube. And I'm going to use cotton wool, or like these cotton pads, because I'll be able to stab into them. So I'm just going to roll them up and try and slot that into the tube. Okay, I currently have what looks like a toy poodle's shit with a waistband. I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to try and cut up here to make trouser legs, because he is actually wearing trousers, which is really fucking annoying. I'm going to leave it at that, I think, and then just poke that into place. So as it stands, currently looks more like an Ewok than Yoda. But I'm hoping that with the cloak on as well, he'll look Yoda-y. Excuse my nails that I've peeled off and put there. I think proportion-wise, I think that's all right. And then with the arm and the little... I think I'm going to make the cloak now. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did before with this one, where I sort of felted it so it was more solid. And then I can drape it, I reckon. I don't know. I'm making it all up as I go along. So as promised, I'm doing the same thing that I did with the other bit before and making it a bit more solid first. I'm also making the shape, and I'm trying to mix some other colours into it as well. My worry was that it would just look dirty, but then my argument was that he does live in that sort of hole in the ground thing, so maybe that's just okay. Okay, here's where I'm at. It's really difficult to actually get the edges, but because these are all still really fluffy. And it's a very repetitive craft, this. But also you want to pay attention to what you're doing so you don't stab your fingers, but then you're watching Baptiste at the same time, and it's the final episode of this series and everything's kicking off, and so it's a tricky business. Anyway, this is going to be way too big, yeah, but that's fine, because that means that I can cut this, and hopefully then I don't have to bother with the rest, and I can use it for the sleeves. Okay, I'm actually really pleased with how this is coming together now. So he needs some sleeves, but that's good. It's good. Oh shit. So then, oh God. No, don't say I've lost his head. I don't want to do it all again. Okay. When I'm done. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. There we go. So he's going to be sort of looking like that. Slightly off to where his arm is. I just need to do this one. And then I need to do his trotters. Whatever they're called. Arms. No. Hands. Feet. Look away now if you don't like blood. Just showing you this is such a dangerous craft. So it's still the same day that I made the body. It's just that I've had a bath and then put comfy... I mean, the other stuff wasn't uncomfortable, but I'm clean now. I want clean clothes on. So this is where we're at. This arm is very long, but it is also attached. And I might have to pull it off and cut it and make it shorter because it's just a bit too long, especially in comparison to that one. So I think I might cut it, try and pull it off, and then cut it and make it just a little wee bit shorter because proportionally it makes no sense. I think that's better. It's still a bit long, but this is supposed to be sleeve, like baggy sleeve. So I've tried to give him like a bit of a bell shape on this one too. If I make his hand small, I think that will work. That's definitely better. Definitely better. Good. Okay, so I've just done one hand. Took forever. And then attached it into the sleeve, which also took a bit of time. But we're there. I have remembered that he has a stick in this hand. So hopefully that will make it easier. Probably not, but it made it so much easier because then I didn't really have to shape a hand out of nothing. I could shape the hand around the stick, and the stick is easy to make. You just stab yourself a few times. Here we have it. What's going to happen is I've got this, which is something that my dad managed to cobble together. And then Yoda stands here, like so, and he's holding the book up, and whatever other books there are, for my brother who's a bookworm. So here we have it. I'll need to glue the Yoda down, but I'm pretty pleased with that, to be honest. So I sent a picture to my dad and he reminded me that Yoda needs a hood. So we're gonna do that. Okay, so I just made like a semicircle and then draped it around his shoulders, stabbed it in the front here and here, you can see there, and then I let it drape and then sort of just stabbed in the back, so then this bit's still a bit flappy, looks more hood-like, I think. So yeah, there we have it.